Hi everybody, it's Ginell Cooper, and today we are going to do something a little different. I'm going to teach you how to put edging on fabric. The story behind this is I actually was making market bags out of my daughter's duck feed bags because she has a million of them because she's constantly feeding the ducks, and these bags are so great because they don't come apart and they're very sturdy. I came up with a couple different designs, but part of that is edging it with yarn and then crocheting it together. But then I had this tank top. Okay, I love these tank tops. Just so you know, I am not an affiliate of Old Navy, but these are my favorite tank tops because they just fit better. They cover bra straps a little better. They don't come in so much on the sides. They're just a great like first layer. They're actually called first layer. And they were on sale for like $5 a piece. So when I was in Tennessee, I bought a bunch because it's hot, because it's summer in Tennessee. And I use them all the time for everything, but this one is my favorite color, and this one had a pokey thing in the back of the neck. Sorry, you can tell I wear this all the time because it's got some smudgies on it. But it had like some kind of like, I don't even know what it was, and I took it off and I tried to like find it, and I tried to cut it out, and I just couldn't do it, and I was just like, fine, I'm gonna put an edging on here and see if that helps, and it did help. But it also did another thing. It made the straps just slightly wider, and it gives it just kind of a cool edge. I don't know, it just enhances a very plain tank top. So here's a picture of what it looks like from the front and the back. But instead of doing the neckline this time, I thought I showed my group on Facebook, which is Ginell's Quarantine Crochet, if you want to come and join us. I showed it to them and they were super excited. So we're gonna do this. We did a different project first. They wanted me to do the mini granny stitch first for color pooling. So that was the video before this one. And now we're gonna do this one. And then I have two fall projects I wanna do after this. But because I'm so excited about the upcoming fall, I thought I'd use this tank top. So we're gonna do this one a little differently though. This is one of my favorite tank tops. These were all on sale for like $5 a piece, like just recently. So I bought a ton. But this was one of my favorites because if you can see, it has a more square neck, and which just kind of, I just think is more flattering a lot of times, but also it fits over bra straps a lot better, so it doesn't have that indentation, so the bra strap shows in the back. But also the thing I don't like about it is that it's cropped. It's also something I do love about it too, because it's actually pretty flattering. But I could have just, you know, I'm 54, I would have liked it if it was just a little bit longer, like maybe to there, right? So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna show you how to add edging to fabric, and we're just gonna do something fun. This time, instead of this one was just a very simple half double crochet all the way around, and then I just did a little chain effect on there to give it kind of a lacy look. We're working with a bigger yarn than you would normally do lace with, so you don't wanna make it too bulky. That's not it. It's in my lap, this one. So you don't want it to be too bulky. So we're gonna do something kind of simple, but a little bit longer and maybe a little bit more detailed on the ends there. To be honest, I haven't even picked it yet, but I am gonna show you how to get started, and then I'll pick it and then we'll continue on from there. The choice that I made for the yarn, I am not sure if it's the right choice, but we're gonna find out. I used this on the first one, and this is Lion brand. It's Kabu, which is cotton and bamboo. I used a different yarn. I think my last, like 2 videos back, I used one that was a cotton bamboo mixed, and I loved it. This one I didn't love because it just split so badly, and I spent so much time making sure that I wasn't like getting stuck in all the different pieces in there. Like it just splits so badly. Sorry, Lion brand, I love you so much. I hope you know I love you, but this is not my favorite yarn. So I wanted something that was cotton because this is cotton, and regular cotton, this is 100% cotton, it's just a little bit too bulky for me. You can actually get cotton thread and do like a really pretty, like detailed edge on there with just like super tiny thread, but I wanted something that shows up on camera. So we're gonna try it with this. This is actually half cotton and half, or 60% cotton and 40% acrylic. And it is Bernat Softy Baby Cotton. So it's not fully cotton, should be fully cotton if it says it's cotton. And the color is called cotton. One thing that I am gonna do, it asks for, I usually do the recommended hook size. I'm gonna go down a hook size just because I want it to be a little bit tighter in there. And you'll see why when I'm doing it. And then you're also going to need a hook, or sorry, you're gonna need a needle that's pretty sharp. So you don't want to just have a needle that is like a tapestry needle because it's too blunt. We're actually going to sew into this, and you want something that is pretty sharp, so it's going to leave, you're going to make a hole but not a massive hole that's going to cause like runs and all kinds of stuff on it. So so you want something that's pretty sharp, but it still has a pretty big eye so that you can get the yarn through there. And that is it. So there is a faster way to do this, and it's with a hook that is a needle. There are a lot of them out there, but they're very hard to find. They're only online, and they're mostly really, really tiny. So if you're going to do it with, like, say, cotton thread, and you're going to do something really dainty and lacy, I would highly recommend that. It's going to be way faster than what I'm about to show you. I left mine in Tennessee, and all the ones I found online were not the right size. So I'm going to show you how to do it this way. I'm going to assume most of you don't just have one of those on hand, but I will put a link in the description if I can find one big enough that would work with this yarn. And I'll also put the smaller ones too, so that if you want to do lace, you can. So that is that. Let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so to get started with this, I went ahead and threaded my needle. I have my hook ready, but we're not even ready to go there yet. It's going to take a while to do this first row on here. I would actually, so if you saw on this one, I actually did it around the entire hem or stitch up there, like this little hem right here, but that's just too wide for me. It looks kind of funky. So I'm actually going to come down here and add it to the very edge. You just want to make sure that you put it in far enough that it's not going to like pull out or, you know, be right at the edge or whatever. You want to have enough space there that it's you're not going to create a massive hole that looks weird. I'm starting in the back just in case the join isn't totally perfect. I think it'll be pretty hard to find anyway. So what we're going to do is we're basically going to do what is the equivalent of a surface crochet, and I'll give you a link to the first surface crochet I ever did. Ooh, that's going to be challenging. It's going to take a while, and you're going to want a whole lot of yarn, and yeah, you probably will need to change it up every once in a while because it's this is a mess. Hold on. Okay, so for me, I don't want to have to join it too many times, so I have a really long piece of yarn to work with. You can cut it if you want to. I tend to just kind of leave it on there for now, and then I can undo it. I can cut it later and join them later. This probably will not be enough to go all the way around. Maybe it will be. Maybe I'll get lucky. I usually figure like twice as long as it will take to go all the way around. That's a little bit more than twice. So so we'll see. Maybe I'll make it, maybe not. Maybe I'll have to join some more yarn on there. We will figure it out as we go. So what you're going to do is the great thing about these ribs is you can actually count about how many ribs you want to go out on it. We are going to wrap this around. If anybody's an embroiderer, you already know what I'm going to do. But we're going to go through here, back kind of where you came from. Okay, so you're going to pull it through and you're going to leave a loop. And you want your loop to be pretty small. I want you to imagine like one stitch going through it. And you want it to kind of stay pretty straight across here. So you don't want it to put, like, you can always put 2 stitches through one later if you find that they're not perfectly spaced. They don't have to be perfectly spaced, but these ridges actually help a lot with that. So if it looks like maybe 1, 2, you're going into the 3rd ridge after, just pull up right there. You're actually going to go through this loop. Can you tell I'm not a seamstress? Yeah, I have concerns about this yarn. It's kind of like just like the other one. Maybe it's that cotton split with something else makes it do that. Okay, so you don't want to pull it tight, but you do want it to look pretty uniform, right? So we're going to do that, and we're going to do it again, and just keep going all the way around. And we're going to use this as the base that we're going to crochet into. So hold on to that loop. And I did 3, I think. So it was 1, 2, 3. You want to come out there about the same, you know, you want to try and make it as straight as you can. It's not going to be horrible if it's a little bit off, but you know, you want it to look pretty uniform. Okay, don't pull it too tight because you're going to be getting a hook in there, and you definitely don't want to have to work too hard at getting that hook in there because that'll cause some issues. And when you pull on this, it'll tighten the one next to it and so forth. So try and keep it pretty loose. Okay, and then you just continue doing that. That's what it looks like on the inside. We're going to use both sides though, so you won't see either side of the stitch. You might see the outside loop. It'll depend on how you choose to do it. My last one, I chose to use both loops, but you can actually just go into one side, and then we'll do this side. We'll pull them together so there won't actually be that stitch back there. So just continue on all the way around. This is going to take a little bit of time. The rest of it will go really fast. This is the part that'll be kind of time consuming. One, two, three. Okay, there you go. Keep doing that. Do it all the way around. I'll show you how I connect it. Okay guys, so I thought I'd check back in with you. You saw how much yarn I did. I had almost enough yarn to go around it 3 times, and that was just enough to get it exactly halfway across. So you are gonna have to join. So let me show you. It's actually really, really easy, but I always have to kind of like fake it till I make it, which is kind of my whole life anyway. So what I'm gonna do, let's see, how did I do this in the past? I'm gonna, through the magic of editing, this is gonna look like I've done this a million times, but I haven't. But we'll figure this out here. Hold on. We're going to pull this down and leave a loop that we can tighten later. I'm gonna go ahead and cut the original starter piece, but leave it long so that you can weave in your ends, right? And then we're gonna let this one go, and we're gonna start a new piece. Let's see, I want this line, I don't want there to be a skip here. So I'm actually think I'm gonna pull it in from like here. And it's gonna have to be long again if I wanna make it all the way around, right? Okay, leave yourself a tail so you can sew your ends in, and we're gonna do that at the very, very end when there's plenty of things to sew it into. We will just continue on with what we were doing. So we're gonna go back and count out our 3 rows, 2, 3. You're not gonna be able to see any of this because we're gonna cover up all of it. So it doesn't really matter what it looks like, but if you want to make sure that it doesn't accidentally pull out, you can always just tie it to this one. Okay, there we go. Okay, continue on. Doesn't that just look so cute just by itself? Like if you didn't want to add lace and you just wanted to do that, I think that's super cute. You could do it around all of it and it would be so fun. But I picked out the lace that we're going to use. I'll show you a little picture of it right here. And the reason I chose this particular one is because it's super easy. And if you've never done lace before, this will be an easy pattern to follow. It's also really easy to make it longer or shorter. So you can decide like where, you know, how long you want it to be. But just by adding more rows to it. So I thought that would be pretty adaptive for whatever you want to do with your top, but also give you an idea of how to do lace if you've never done it before. So, okay, let's continue. This is way long. Okay, we're almost to the end. So now is when it gets a little bit strategic. You just kind of want to time it out, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. There should be enough for 4 more stitches, right? Because 12 divided by 3, which is how many ribs we were doing. So we're going to put in 4 more stitches real quick. 1, 2, 3. This actually went a lot faster than I thought, or more time has gone by than I think, because I was just happily listening to my little podcast and doing my sewing, and it's actually really nice to be crocheting again and doing these things again. I went through a good solid 3 months where I was at my daughter's house in Tennessee, and I was working on her farm with her, which is wonderful in itself, but I didn't get any crocheting done and I missed it. I got a little bit done, but not much. Not what I'm used to. This yarn is going to split a little bit on us, so I did not escape the split factor that I was hoping to escape. Okay, 2. Okay, now here's how we're going to do the next one. We're going to take the yarn, we're going to go through this. See how it just kind of like, we're just going to copy the same thing that happens naturally on these stitches. We're going to go through here. That was not as clear, as cleanly as I thought it would go, but that'll work. And then we're going to go back into here. Just like that, so you can't even tell. And then over here, we're going to tie these 2 together. Look at, that's how much yarn I had left. That was a pretty good guess, right? I mean, there's extra, but at least it wasn't short, so that's good. Remember, this knot, anybody who watches my videos knows that I am not big on knots. I hate them, but we're going to go over the top of this knot, so it's not going to matter. That'll keep everything in place. Ta-da! What do you think? Isn't that cute? I mean, you could just do that and be done if you wanted to, but we're going to make it even cuter. So hang tight. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to add the first row around, so it's like the base row. So I'm using a size F hook, but the yarn I'm using calls for a G hook, so just kind of know that I did that to keep it nice and tight. And I'm going to find the beginning of this, and then we're going to get started. Okay, so once again, I'm going to start in the back, just because in case the join isn't perfect, you know, we don't want to draw attention to it, but that is the join that I just did, and you can't see it. So, and you're not going to see it anyway, because we're going to go over the top of the stitches. When I did the bags for my daughter, I actually went through just 1 loop. When I did it on my tank top that way, my gray one, it just seemed too gappy, and it was really long, and it just seemed weird. I'm going to try it 1 loop and see if I like it, but I reserve the right to come back and go through both loops, and it's just 2 different looks. I kind of like the outside outline out on the, I think it just looks cute. So hopefully it'll work with just going through that top loop there, or bottom loop, depending on how you're looking at it. We're going to start with a standing single crochet. I'm going to start in the back, but I'm not going to start here because I don't want the knots to pile up on each other. So, because that makes it lumpy. So we're going to kind of start off to the side a little bit. You can do whatever makes you happy. And we're going to start with a single crochet, a standing single crochet. Okay, and we're going to go through 1 loop. Okay, so then what I did with my other one was I did a standing half double crochet, and we may still do that, but because this is so skinny here, I think we can get away with doing a standing single. So a regular standing single you would yarn over and go through. But because we're gonna join both sides together, you're gonna do like, think of it as doing 2 single crochets together, right? So, you know, like if you're joining or if you're decreasing, you would do a single, like part of the single but not finish it, and then part of the other single and not finish it, and then finish them 2 together, and it draws it together, right? We're gonna do the same thing, but we're gonna go front. So you pull up a loop, go to the back loop that one goes with, which is back here. Do the same thing, pull up a loop, right? Now you have 2 singles on there, and you're gonna go yarn over and go through all of them. Now you're gonna hold on to this because it's gonna come undone until you do the next one, right? So we're gonna try this again. We're gonna go single, so pull up a loop, and then go to the back and pull up a loop, go to that next one. So you have 2 singles or half singles on there, and then you yarn over and go through all of it, just like that. Now you can let go of this, okay? So you're gonna do that all the way around until you get back to here. So let's do it a few more times so you can kind of see the journey. So you're not gonna yarn over, you're gonna go, because that's like a half double, right? Or a double. And you can do it with a half double or a double, whatever you like best. I'm just gonna do it with a single because I like the tinier edge. And then you're gonna go through here, like that. Bring up a loop, bring it up tall, yarn over, go through all of it. Yeah, I think I like that line right there. So you're gonna end up with just a cute little crocheted edge, and then we're gonna add the laciness to it. So, and see how it covers both sides so that it goes through all of that so you don't see the stitching in the back. If this is too short and let's say you went clear up here, you can do like a half double or a double or even a triple crochet. So let me show you how to do it. So let's say we're doing a double. You're gonna go through one, or you're gonna yarn over and go through one just like you would normally pull up a loop, right? Then you're gonna go through 2 of them, but leave 1 on the hook, okay? Then go over here, yarn over first because we're doing a double, pull up a loop, yarn over and go through 2. So that's 2 double crochets, but I've only done half of them. Then you're going to yarn over and go through all of it, and it's going to pull it all together and make it 1 stitch. But look at how much taller that is. So that would be great if if you did it clear up here, right? Or if you had a lot of fabric. But I think I'm going to stick with the single. With this one, this was a thicker yarn too, but with this one I did I did do a double all the way across. So, and that's how much longer it is, where this one is shorter. And you can totally decide how you want that to look. Just use the same principles you would use if you were doing 2 together, like any stitch. And I do have, I have some 1-minute videos that show how to do that, just that specifically for each set of stitches, I believe. So I can link those down below, or you can find them in my Stitch Minute playlist too. So let's do this a couple more times. Loop a loop, back over here. This is the reason, this back one is the reason why we did it loosely, because this is the hard one to get into. Pull up a loop, go through all of it, okay? Continue doing that all the way around. Now, the stitch that we're gonna do, the lace stitch we're gonna do is, technically it needed to be like in value of 4 or counts of 4 plus a couple. I don't even know. We're gonna figure it out as we go because that's how I do things. So we'll see, and we'll be able to kind of pull things together, because up here then we won't have these and it won't be so obvious, right? So now we're up here, we can actually make it smaller or make it bigger if we need to. So we'll get to that when we get to the next row, but for now just go ahead and do that all the way around and I'll meet you back here. Okay, I'm back. I finished most of this first row here. I'm gonna go ahead and finish it in front of you, but see how it makes this like cool rounded edge, so you don't see the stitches in the back, but also it's just a nice covered edge for that ending of the fabric. So we're gonna go ahead and just finish these last few stitches just so you can see. Just yarn over and pull up a loop, switch to the back. This is awkward, but by now probably you're used to it. Yarn over, pull up a loop, and then yarn over and go through all of them. I did this on those market bags that I made for my daughter. So I've gotten pretty, relatively fast at it. When I first started doing it, it took me forever. So if this is causing some struggles for you, just know that that is pretty normal. It is a weird motion to make, not your typical crochet form. Okay, last one. Seems like the last one and the first one are always really tight to get into. Okay, so now we're just going to go ahead and join it with a slip stitch, just like that. So here is what it looks like so far. Again, that's cute just by itself. Like you could just stop right there if you want to, but I am going to continue on and make it even more cute. But what we're gonna do, I'm not gonna tie this, or I'm not going to trim this yet, but I am gonna go through and I'm gonna weave all these ends in, just because they're sort of just in my way. So you don't have to, you can wait till the end, but now that you have all of these to work with, it's gonna be much easier to weave your ends in than it would have been when you just had, like, you know, one little bar of stitches there. So go ahead and do that. I'll show you how I do mine. If you're not used to me and how I weave in my ends, I do the back and forth method. This is a very small needle. Yeah, maybe I'll get the bigger needle here. Hold on. It's amazing. I've had, you know, pretty strong fingernails my whole life. And then this whole thing where I went and got gel nails with my daughter and then tried to take them off myself, which was a huge mistake. Now I have like really not good nails at all, and hopefully that's going to fix themselves eventually. I assume that it'll heal and I'll have better nails soon, but I'm so used to using my fingernails that I feel lost without them, and then I can't grip onto anything. Okay, so I just go through a few stitches. You can pick as many as you want. You can do 3, it doesn't matter, it doesn't have to be a lot. And then you just go ahead and turn around, and you're going to jump over, or you can pick a separate stitch to go around. That's what I usually end up doing because it just seems less visible. And then go back the way you came, but jump over that stitch that you just went around, so that keeps it from pulling out. And then it doesn't matter how many times you wash it, you're not going to have any stray pieces of yarn sticking out from that, which is my big pet peeve with the regular way of weaving in ends. So once I found that, it changed my life. Hopefully it will also make your life better as well. So I'm gonna go ahead and do all these ends, and then we'll do the first row of our lace design. And after that, I mean, the first 3 rows is all basically chains and attaching. So it's gonna be very, very easy, and it's probably gonna go super fast. This yarn does split a little bit, but not as bad as the other one. So it made it a little bit easier. Okay, so just keep doing that till it's all done, and then we'll pick up where we left off with this. Okay, so here is how this first row goes. The one that I took this off of the many Pinterest lace options out there. And if you're interested, you can see my Pinterest boards where I've saved all of that. It's just under Ginell's Crochet Therapy. And you can find I have tons of Pinterest boards, but the ones that are public are my travel ones and my crochet ones. So you can play around in there, and there's just a lot. But it's under the subboard of stitches, and you can find tons of different ones. If you don't want to do this one, you can do something else. They're all, I try to always save the free ones or the ones that I can figure out on my own. So this one's a free one. I did not create it. It's created by somebody else. But the one that I have saved is flat. It's not done in the round. So we're going to do it in the round, and hopefully it's going to be fine. So you're going to chain up one. You're going to single crochet into the first stitch, just under those first 2 loops. Don't go down too far. Okay. Then you're going to chain 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And you're going to skip 4. 1, 2, 3. Well, actually, you're going to go into the 4th one, I believe. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So you're skipping 3, going into the 4th. And you're going to single crochet. Okay? Just like that. Do that all the way around. So we're going to do 1. Now, this looks huge to me. And on the pattern, it looks much smaller, probably because it's done with thread as opposed to yarn. So I reserve the right to go back and make this smaller if I don't like the way it looks. So see how it looks when you get to like the second or third row. Because to me that looks huge, and I kind of wanted it to be smaller than that, but you do want that gap in between. So let's see what it looks on the second row, and you can make adjustments as you want to. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is what happens when I chain and talk. And then 1, 2, 3, 4. So one thing about this is I did not plan out my stitches when I did this. So I don't know how many stitches are on there. You can go through and do that right now. Go through and see how many stitches you have. Just know that you need to do these, each one of these makes up 4 stitches except for the first stitch, which is the extra one. I would go through and maybe count and see how many you have. And if you are off, you don't have a multiple of 4, then you would probably want to, like, once in a while only skip 2 stitches, or only, you know, to try and fix that. No one's ever going to know. So I'm just going along for a little bit further so you can see. 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. I do kind of like the chunky look of it. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now this is the back of my project. If I'm going to have to like adjust for stitches, see how many stitches you have to work with, and then see if you need to make any adjustments. So I'm gonna do that right now, actually. Okay, so I just counted. I don't know how I did it, but I actually do have multiples of 4 on here. So, and rather than counting it and then trying to divide it by 4, I just counted in groupings of 4. So I just went 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then whatever I ended up with over here, and it ended up that this is the 4th one. So I'll just skip that and go into that. Pretty easy. So, but if your numbers are not, if it's off by 1 or 2, I would just do like on the edges here, like maybe over by the seam, I would skip 2 instead of skipping 3. No one will ever know or care. No one's ever going to count it. So, but once you have that first row set up, it's a piece of cake after that, because we're going to go into this every time as we go around. So it'll be so fast. So continue doing that. You're just going to chain 6. 4, 5, 6, and then skip 4, 2, 3, or skip, sorry, let me do this right. Skip 3, go into the 4th one. 1, 2, 3, and then go into the 4th one. Right there, and you're gonna single crochet. Okay guys, so I got to the end and I'm gonna go ahead and attach it. I'm just gonna go ahead and slip stitch into the same stitch that we started with. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just kind of travel up the side of this. I'm gonna try and do it right in the middle so it doesn't look too bulky. Just a little slip stitch up the side. So for row 2, you're just going to slip stitch up 2 stitches, and then you're going to single crochet right in the middle of that loop right there. I'm wondering if I should do 3. No, I think it'll be fine. Okay, so then go ahead and continue doing exactly what you were doing before. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then you're going to single crochet right in the top of that loop right there. I thought about making these loops smaller, but I tried it, and I did do that, and I tried it on, and I realized that this is actually kind of tight because it limits the motion of this t-shirt a little bit. So you might want to keep that in mind when you're doing these stitches on here, that you might want to make them either closer to each other or something that so you have more stitches there so that it stretches more. For me, it's going to be fine. But you know, if you have a bigger chest or bigger hips, you might not be able to get this over that, because this is limited by how far it'll go. So keep that in mind when you're doing it. But then I also noticed that what it did was it pulled this part pretty tight, and the smaller loops kind of disappeared. So I'm going to do the larger loops. I was doing, I went back and I did 4, no, did I do that right? Yeah, 4 loops, and I only skipped 2 stitches just to see what it would look like. And it did make it smaller, and I did like it for like an edging. And if I did that, if I did do edging around the sleeves, I probably would do that. But down here at the bottom, I think it needs a little bit more stretchiness. 4, 5, and 6, and then right into the top of there. So go around one more time. I think that's probably going to be as long as I want it to be. Now you can continue to do the exact same thing over and over until it's as long as you want it to be. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I shouldn't talk and chain. And then what we're going to do is we're going to do this little decorative edge on here. So go ahead and continue doing that, and I'll see you over here, and I'll show you the decorative edge we're going to do. Okay guys, so once again, I got lucky, but going into this next row, of course people are sawing while I'm trying to record. Going into this next row, we're going to just slip stitch into the top of that. And then we're going to, which is the same stitch that you started off with, you're going to slip stitch into the next one. And so the decorative part that we're about to do is only going to do these. There's 6 chains here. You're only going to use 4 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we're going to skip across and do 1, 2, 3, 4, skip across and do 1, 2, 3, 4, and then every other one we're going to have like a little flower at the top. So in order for that to work, to do every other one, you're going to want it to be an even number of spaces, right? I did not count that ahead of time because, again, it's a journey. It's always a journey when I'm doing stuff because I just go right into it. But I did count it just now, and it's going to work out perfectly. However, if yours is not, and it's just you have an odd number and it's not going to work out right, then you could just do your little flower in every single one. It doesn't have to be every other. So the one that I am using, the pattern that I am using here, has it's going to go every other. You could do it on every single one, and it'd still be just as cute, I think. Oh my goodness, with all the noises. Hold on. So yesterday when I was recording this for you, I just started, and someone was practicing bagpipes. Mind you, I don't live in Scotland, so that was a strange, I loved it. It was beautiful, but it was, it kind of cut into my recording time. So, and then now today somebody's sawing, so that's just how it works. But okay, so how this is gonna go, we chained up 1. Now, if you want to, in the original pattern, there's 3 rows of these loops. I only did 2 because I like the length where it's at. If you want to make it longer, you can do 3, you can do 4, you can do 5, you can make it as long as you want. But you know, keep in mind that you, at some point, this particular tank top is short, and I kind of like it short. I just didn't like it that short, right? So, but you could do it on a long tank top. You can add it to the end of sleeves. You could do it on a jacket, like, I mean, anything you want. So here's how it's gonna go. You're gonna go single crochet, and single crochet. Okay, now we're gonna make this cute little flower. It's 3 picots, so it's 1, 2, 3. What if we just all went into the same stitch down here at the base? 1, 2, 3, back where we were. 1, 2, 3. So you're going to single crochet into the first stitch after all of those. And then the next one. Okay, so it ends up being this, it's going to be 2 stitches, little flower, 2 stitches, okay? And then you're going to have 1 left over and the single crochet, and then 1 left over, and then you're going to skip over here, okay? So skip the last chain, the single crochet, and the next chain, and then go right into this one. And you're going to do 4 single crochets. This one doesn't have a flower. 2, 3, and 4, right? Skip that chain, skip the single crochet, skip the next chain. One, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, okay. Sometimes it gets confusing. Okay, so now we're gonna do 2 single crochets here, and then we're gonna make our flower again, or whatever you would call that. It's like a little flower. Okay guys, so right now I'm currently competing with a tow truck, someone's sawing in the background, and airplanes flying over like crazy. I'm currently in an apartment while we're waiting to sell our house, and we're actually changing that situation pretty soon, but it makes it very hard to record. So if anybody wonders why I haven't been recording much, I feel like I've had obstacle after obstacle, but I will be back to it on a regular basis once we get everything kind of settled with my family and where we're going to live and what we're doing. So everybody pray that my house sells so that so I don't have to do this anymore. So okay, we're going to go ahead. We did our first single crochet, and next one is going to be a single crochet, and then we're going to go ahead and we're going to make our little picot flower. Okay, so we're going to do 1, 2, 3. Go back to the stitch that you single crocheted in and slip stitch. Okay, do it 2 more times. 1, 2, 3. Back. It's like Grand Central Station here. And 1, 2, 3, and back in here. Okay. So there's our little flower, and then we're going to do right up here next to the flower, the next chain, you're going to do a single crochet and another single crochet, and then we're going to skip that chain, skip this single crochet, and skip this chain, and go into the next chain and do 4 single crochets across the top of that little lump there, that little hoop. 2, 3, 4, just like that. And then you're just going to continue doing that all the way. Now you absolutely could have, if you wanted to, sorry, this is white on white, so I keep trying to put it on the orange for you. So you could actually have it be flower, flower, flower. They would be kind of close together, but it would still be a cute look. So you could continue to do that if you have an odd number of spaces. Do you hear all the noises in the background? It's crazy. I'm just going to push on, guys. Otherwise, I'll never get these videos done. So you can have any there's so many different combinations of ways that you can do like a lacy border or lacy edge. That's why I was saying you could go to my Pinterest page if you want to. You can ignore my Pinterest page and just do a search. There's a gazillion of them. So just pick ones that make you happy. I picked this one because it was simpler and easier to understand. Some of them can get very ornate. I'm gonna continue all the way around and then we're gonna be done. That's how fast it is. So I'm gonna continue this. I'll show you how I end it and then I'll show you what it looks like on. Okay, so we're down to the last few stitches here. I just wanted to show you. So we're gonna skip this one, skip the single crochet, skip the chain afterwards, and then go ahead and do your 4 single crochets or your flower, whichever you are doing. And then I'm just gonna go ahead and slip stitch it into the original first single crochet, like that. If you want to do an extra little slip stitch to knot it, you can, to give it a little extra. And then, that's so cute. But it's not super, I mean, it's a little stretchy, but it's, you know, like if you have larger hips than I do, you might want to make sure, I mean, I think probably the best way to make sure that this is stretchy enough is to do less stitches here. So make them closer together. I'm gonna go ahead, before you weave in your ends, be sure to try it on and make sure you don't have any issues that you need to redo. But I'm like, that's so cute. Look how fun that is. So pretty easy little technique there to do, and you can add it. I mean, can you imagine just like cutting off some jeans and then adding this to the bottom, or like an old jean shirt or I mean, I just think there's so many different possibilities. So anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and try this on for you so you can see what it looks like in person. Hey guys, so I realized after I said that I was gonna try it on and show it to you that now that I'm in this tiny apartment and all of my stuff is packed, not only do I not have a cute space to show it off for you, but I also, all of my lighting and filming equipment is packed. So instead what I'm going to do is I'm going to I'm going to put it on, and then I'm going to have my husband take a picture of it, and then I will post it at the end, in the end screen for you. But you can go ahead, and if you're interested in getting more little lace things that you can add to the ends of your fabric, you can find a bunch of different ones on my Pinterest page, on my Pinterest boards. That's under Ginell's Crochet Therapy on Pinterest, and then it's under the sub board of stitches. And then also you can come and join us on Ginell's Quarantine Crochet on Facebook. And I have some really great cute fall things coming up that I'm about to do. And if you are interested in that, subscribe on Ginell's Crochet Therapy on YouTube. And I think that's everything. Oh, and then now I also have a blog. So I might actually write these patterns out for you and show them on the blog as well. And the blog is also called JinellsCrochetTherapy.com. So you can find me everywhere. I will see you on the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye.